Season. Why was Jacksonville the pick for you?
Man, just the coaching staff was one. The opportunity to work with Coach Caldwell and Coach Peterson was high on the list when we started to talk, and then the opportunity to be here was awesome. You look at the roster, you look at the talent that's here. It's hard to pass up this opportunity, and then to be around to build something special is always a pretty neat thing to do.
What was the perception, would you say, of the Jaguars these last 2 years? I think anytime you have the #1 overall pick back-to-back years, there's a certain perception.
Well, I'm not sure what it was here. It's just the opportunity going forward is great. You know what I'm saying? You can't worry about what happened in the past. It is what it is, but there is talent here. And the one thing that we're here to do is to make sure we become a team. And that's the biggest thing that we always talk about is how do we become one and then play for each other on the field.
What is your role? Because obviously you've got a couple different titles.
Yeah.
So what's your day-to-day role? What's your game day role?
Day-to-day role is I oversee the secondary. Safeties, corners. We always meet together. When we break up, if we do drills, Cody will take the safeties. But a day-to-day role is making sure that the secondary is one, making sure we're on the same page, making sure that we're coordinated and we're out there with great effort on the field.
A lot of former players on this staff.
Yeah.
Was that something? I know Doug said it wasn't by design, but what has that? I'm sure you've been a part of other coaching staffs where maybe that wasn't the case. How has that translated onto the field so far?
One thing that it does help is if it does or doesn't, you've been there where they're at. And that's the one thing that I take pride in is being able to put them in positions that I know that I was in to help them. The mistakes I made, the things that I can see on the field that's happened to them. It helps you. And then the X and O part is the X and O part, but just being able to relate to them, being able to motivate them. Knowing what it feels like to be scored on, knowing what it feels like to make a play. You can kind of sit in their shoes a little bit and still find ways to motivate them. And that's what it's always about.
How have you seen Tyson?
At least one time.
I think it was just
once.
You're not qualified to be a DB unless you got scored on at least one side.
How have you seen Tyson grow?
Man, he's awesome. The one thing for me is just for him is to push him to be a leader, to be more vocal, because he has a skill set that makes you elite. And then for him, it's just going to be taking it to that next level where it happens day in and day out. And that's everybody's goal, to be as consistent as we can be when we're out there on the field.
Can you put a finger, and I understand, probably speaking out of turn because it was a different regime, but how Andre didn't get on the field more last year?
Cisco?
Yeah.
I'm glad he's on the field now. That's, like I said, that last year thing, it is what it is. You learn from it. You look at it, you look at what he did last year and how can you help him become better this year. And that's what it's always about. What can we be in this 2022 year?
Let's go through some of the other guys on the depth chart. How about the rookie, Gregory Jr.? Small school. Did you know how to say it?
I still say it wrong, so I won't pronounce it on here.
Doug got mad at us, and none of us could pronounce it.
We were like,
Ajawa, or something like that. Yeah.
What have you thought about him since you got here? Does he look like? He doesn't look like a small school corner when you see him in person.
Physically built. The athletic ability is there. Of course, with all rookies, it's the learning curve. And that's my job, to speed him up to get there. But you can see why he got drafted. You can see why that the great thing about the NFL is we will find you. And I talk to a lot of kids all the time. They think you're supposed to go here or go there, but the NFL does a great job. If you're talented, they will find a way to find you.
That nickel spot, I mean, it's a little bit of a different job in the NFL than being a boundary corner. Can you just talk to the degree of difficulty playing inside there and how some of the guys fit?
The good thing for us is we talk a lot. I teach a lot of techniques. It's not really a position. So we know at this league that it's going to take everybody at some point in the season. So if you're a player and you want to be a pro, right, and that's one thing I preach to them a lot is you have to know everything. And for us, we teach techniques. So if you're a corner, if you're a left corner, at some point, it's going to be a slot receiver. So technically, you're a nickel. So it's not really, it's just a position that we're making great, but it's just a technique that you have to learn. And we teach techniques because at any moment, if something happens in the game, you might be inside. So, it's a thing that's important because every play is important in that inside part because, for one, you're a little more active. You're involved in every run play. You're involved in every pass because you're closer to the line of scrimmage. But it's just more of just teaching defense. And that's one thing I want my guys to be is if something happens, there's no way that we can't say we don't have a guy to go play it. So, and at this point in the season where we're at right now, that's what we're doing. You know, we're teaching techniques, we're teaching the defense where you need to know all of it.
And what have you seen from Shaq Griffin? I mean, he was the
Shaq. Yeah, so Shaq is, you know, he's the great personality, you know what I'm saying? But skill set wise, you can see why he's long, he can run. You know, he knows how to play the position, and he's a great leader. You know, not just the vocal part, but he leads by example. He works hard every day, and that's what it takes for the young guys. And then, you know, somebody said that he was the old guy in the group, and I think it's only his 5th year. I'm like, man, shoot, 5th year, that's still young. You know, he still got a lot of ways to learn to get better. So, you know, that's a great problem to have when you have a unit like we have right now.
They're young, but I mean, Shaq, Darius, and Tyson, that's a pretty good trio to have, right?
Great trio, you know, and that's a good problem, you know. And we got some young guys with Buster and Greg and Chris Claybrook and Xavier. You know, that's the thing about a group is you have to have competition, you know, and that's what you want. You know, in order to be the best player, you got to have somebody beside you pushing you, and I think we have that in this group.
Shaq wanted to shadow the #1 receiver last year, and he did a pretty good job on it. Do you envision him rolling like that?
I don't think it's necessary. I hope it's not necessary. You know, our job is to cover whoever's in front of us.
Yeah.
And if in your mindset, if whoever's in that group, if you're playing, whoever lines up in front of you, we need to win. And I think that won't be, you know, if it is an issue, it shouldn't be because Tyson's capable, Darius capable, Chris. If you line up out there, you better be capable,
right.
So or you wouldn't be here. But I don't think that's necessary, but it's a great option to have when you have guys like Tyson and like Shaq that can go match your #1 receivers and Darius because he's done it.